Good Monday morning, everybody. This is Pastor Jacob Snowden, and I'm here in my office, and today I'm thinking about questions. The most important Sunday school class I may have ever had was, I think I was in about the fourth grade, maybe the fifth grade, and I had a substitute teacher. And we were talking about the Ten Commandments, and we got to the fourth of the Ten Commandments, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. And the teacher asked the class, what does remember the Sabbath mean? And I had a friend, Kurt Melton, and he always got Sunday school questions right, and he said, it means you're not supposed to work on Sunday. And I was really surprised because I thought about my pastor at the time. We called him Brother Rick. And Brother Rick, well, he was the preacher, but he worked every Sunday. And here it was in the Ten Commandments, don't do that. And so without raising my hand, I said, but teacher, doesn't the pastor work like every Sunday? I mean, how much trouble is he going to be in for breaking the fourth of the Ten Commandments? And the answer, I don't recommend this for Sunday school teachers, was, Jacob, it is not your turn to ask questions. And that was that. And I never had the question answered. So, Brother Rick, if you're watching, I hope you're okay with all this Ten Commandment breaking that you did. But the point is, I wonder how often it is for us as people of faith, people in the church, when we do feel comfortable to ask our questions. Surely, if God is big enough to love us in the way that God loves us, to create the world in the way that God created the world, surely then God is big enough to entertain our questions. And if God is big enough to entertain our questions, I think the church needs to be able to entertain our questions as well. And the first step in that is for us to know that we can entertain our questions, that the questions are not a bad thing. And so often, I am afraid that questions come as a sign of doubt, that there's insecurity or there's something other than certainty in our beliefs. But I think that's to imagine the faith in a difficult way, that too often we think that certainty would be a stronger form of faith, when really I think faith and doubt are two sides of the one coin. And certainty is a part of a different coin altogether, one that we're not actually asked to cling to. So, whatever your questions are, I hope you give some thought and some time to them. And there's a book that was really important to me, Letters to a Young Poet, from Rainer Maria Rilke, written originally in German. I don't read German, but what it says is that you have to have patience with your questions, and that you can love the questions themselves, that they can be like unlocked rooms or like a book in a foreign language, and that we can find ways to value them in and of themselves, even if we're not ready for the answers. Because even if we were to hear the answer, it might be the case that we're not able to live into that answer, which I think in so many ways, especially when it comes to faith, is the goal, that we learn to live into the answers, but before we can do that, we live into the questions that we have. So whatever your questions are, know that those can be good questions, and it's a help when we have people that we can go to with our questions, so that when we are ready for the answers, the teacher shows up. And maybe in some ways the pastors around you can be that. Maybe it's your family and friends. But in whatever the case may be, I hope that you learn to love your questions and to know that those are good, and that you find the time and the space and the security to ask them. So thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, you can always email me, and I'm not saying I'll have an answer, but I will say that you probably have very good questions, and I'm happy to hear them. Thanks a lot. Have an excellent week. Bye.